All right, so today, the United States Supreme Court justices hearing arguments about whether former President Donald Trump should have immunity as he faces charges of interfering in the 2020 presidential election. My co-anchor Simone de Alba live with us in front of the Supreme Court this afternoon with more on the oral arguments. So Simone, the justices, they seem to signal that the trial could end up being delayed for a bit.
Yeah, Adam, I think that's the main take-home message here. We've had people approaching us saying, what happened today? And we've had to tell them, look, nothing has happened yet. There has been no decision. The court has not issued a ruling. Essentially, the justices appeared skeptical of Trump's claims to sweeping immunity. The arguments have ended for the day, by the way. Now focus has shifted to a timing for a decision. So that's very important because usually when you hear of massive cases like this, they can be argued in April, but you won't get a ruling or a decision until maybe end of June, early July. So that could very well be the case here. Also, special counsel was urging expediency given the upcoming election. So please bear that in mind. But the arguments essentially lasted for over 3 hours today. They were lengthy, and we wanted to give you kind of an idea of some of the main takeaway messages from what happened today in the courtroom. Take a listen.
We're writing a rule for the ages.
The 9 justices are faced with a question that's never been before the High Court: whether a former president is immune from criminal prosecution.
If a president can be charged, put on trial, and imprisoned for his most controversial decisions as soon as he leaves office, that looming threat will distort the president's decision-making precisely when bold and fearless action is most needed.
There is no immunity that is in the Constitution unless this court creates it today.
The justices appeared skeptical of Trump's attorney's arguments of broad immunity.
He talks to his generals all the time, and he told the generals, I don't feel like leaving office, I want to stage a coup. Is that immune?
If it's an official act, there needs to be impeachment and conviction beforehand.
But some suggested former presidents might have some immunity. They also delved into the difference between official and unofficial acts.
There are many other people who are subject to impeachment, including the 9 sitting on this bench, and I don't think anyone has ever suggested that impeachment would have to be the gateway to criminal prosecution for any of the many other officers subject to impeachment. So why is the president different?
In questioning that lasted nearly 3 hours, legal analysts saw the justices wrestle with where to draw the line.
I absolutely do not count to 5, meaning 5 out of the 9 justices, on either extreme position, on either that there's no immunity or that there's absolute immunity.
Legal analysts say the Supreme Court's opinion could delay Trump's federal election trial until after the November election. Now, I would say many of the justices had really robust questions and arguments for Trump's lawyers. One of them, Ketanji Brown Jackson, said specifically, she said she was worried Trump's argument would place him above the law, essentially saying, quote, if there's no threat of criminal prosecution, what prevents the president from doing whatever he wants? Again, just one of the points raised today, Adam. And I would mention, coming up at 4:30, our digital investigative reporter, Jordan Fisher, will be here. He was in the courtroom, and he's going to break down all of the arguments that unfolded today. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, such a flurry of arguments, but as you mentioned, timing is going to be key here. Just how soon will the justices make a decision on this case, because that will certainly cascade and affect the trial of Trump here in Washington. Simone, thank you. All right, we'll be staying on top of this hearing throughout the evening. You can find all of our coverage on the WSA 9 app or streaming on WSA 9 Plus. As you heard Simone say, we'll have another live report at 4:30 and again on the news at 5. To this